Alright, what's up guys and welcome to another Rocket League analysis video. So this is another gameplay analysis for Tom and Kevin. I don't know who I'm doing first. I think I'm doing Kevin first, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. I didn't look. I know the names, but I've got them confused like every single time except for one, so I'm gonna assume that this is for Kevin. So we're gonna pretend like this for Kevin, okay? So first off the bat with with this tactical fake here. Um, Now you could tell that it was coming off the wall, but it's fair enough for you to miss that. However, even if you did get the touch that you were going for with the like zooming into the ball to touch it as it came off the wall, it wouldn't have actually really gone anywhere. So I would have tried to like turn this into like a shot or like slam it against the backboard or just follow it down and you know try to go for 50. But you did that instead and you turned it into a 50 at the end there, which wasn't exactly intended, but it worked out pretty well. So I wouldn't actually be against like what you did there. That was also a fairly decent center because you knew you had time. You probably could have, you know, hit it slightly hard, slightly softer if you were going for second touch, and harder if you were just going to try to doink it into the top corner, which is what I would have suggested. Was just trying to shoot it. Even with a goalie at that kind of range, you can usually get away with it. But apart from that, your rotation's looking fairly solid. So here you can unfortunate. So that in that situation, you really didn't get a lot of choices except to just like go fast or like, well, you didn't really get many choices at all except to like fake your second touch. So you got your first touch here, and then you can see that he's already trying to turn around. So like taking a different approach to just jump or fake just slightly before going for your next touch can usually be enough to throw someone off. And he kept ball chasing after the fact, which was kind of stupid. It ruined his teammates' chances at a 1v1. However, not a bad play or easy win. So this is a really stupid double commit by them. There's absolutely no reason for either of them to try to beat you on this ball because you're not like shooting on target or anything like that. So they don't have to go for a 50 here. But instead they still just double committed. So it's smart not to do what they just did there because that was really silly of them. But anyway, we'll continue. A good goal, by the way. That's a good opener. So you're moving around the field really well. A good amount of shadowing. It's making your twos, like your twos is looking pretty strong. If you keep doing stuff like this, it keeps shadowing effectively. I feel like your teammate could have gone here, but you sat in a really good position to be right here. Because just in case he put that on target, you still had an easy save. And because she didn't put it on target, you didn't have to worry too much about it. Now in this position, I personally, because like this person missed, but there was still like options for the enemy to clear the ball, and your chances to center when the ball are in the enemy corner are pretty slim, especially if the goalie's come out of his net to do so and you're at similar distances away. Now you probably could have gotten a beat on him there maybe, but it's sort of hit and miss. Now you can also end up accidentally 50ing it with them, which can send the ball towards your own net. So generally what I suggest in a situation like this is a little bit more patience. If the ball's in the enemy corner and there is a goalie, don't bother going for it. Wait for him to touch it back out again, which is what he'll inevitably do. The goalies will inevitably touch it back out towards you, and yeah, then you'll easy win. That was a good little 50 for me there. That was a good little bit of bait here as well, because you got bumped there, but then you could tell that there's a chance that she could have come around and tried to bump you again. So it's smart for you to just wait a sec there. Your first touch was a little bit rushed. Again, just heavy first touches. You know, I would have cut into a little bit more, get that extra angle upon it, and hit it slightly less, so that you can follow up a bit better. However, no biggie either which way, because you played the solid possession game regardless, and the worst case scenario was a 50-50. Oh, that was a bit risky. So in this scenario, you can tell, I don't really need to point out that, like, if you wanted to push for that ball before it hit the corner, you should have been facing the ball before it hit the corner, so that you could push on it faster. However, I wouldn't have suggested really going for it, or going for it really hard as it hits the corner, trying to like pinch it as it bounces off the wall back into the wall to pinch it back outwards. Instead of doing what you did here. However, it didn't really turn into a goal, but at higher ranks, sometimes they will shoot those on target, and they become very, very difficult to save. The other error was here. The lurking right here. It's like you had no intention of going for this ball, like you trusted that your teammate was going to go for it, and you didn't rotate accordingly to put yourself in his way. However, you did lurk here. I would have suggested like front flipping or changing camera so that you could see what was going on in the net real quick, and then like beelining it towards your net, so that you had so that just in case your teammate did get beaten, you were still in the net. That's just a good habit more than anything else. In that particular scenario, the chance of him getting beaten were pretty much slim to none because of where the enemies were positioned. But as a habit forming process, it's really good to try to be aware of where you are at all times, and make yourself and force yourself not to be in a no man's land kind of position. Now, so here, that touch wasn't too bad. This touch here, however, you could have also slapped it against the backboard, but there was someone on the backboard, so your pass was kind of a little bit better. I would have suggested maybe slapping it into the ceiling. However, no biggie either which way. The only problem was this part here. Trying to rotate on the spot like that, you generally don't want to do unless you've got a little bit of extra space in the ball. So if you were going to rotate there, what I would have suggested was use like 20 or 30 boost going the other direction, and then chuck a U-turn and face back towards the ball again, instead of like sort of lurking a little bit and ending up too close to the ball. If you're a little bit further away, you can calibrate for where the ball's going to land. If you turn beforehand, you have to turn perfectly, and even if you do turn perfectly, most of the time you're not going to have much momentum to actually get a good power shot on the ball anyway. This little like play off the wall, running upfield to do stuff like this, what I would have suggested was just jumping on the ground instead of jumping off the wall. I know it's a big habit to try to redirect off the wall, especially with all the training packs nowadays that use the wall. However, going off the ground here would have netted you a goal, even if you didn't hit it hard, and you would have been able to hit this very, very hard. Unfortunately, you did also get bumped repeatedly when trying to go for the solo play after the fact. But good comms there to call each other off that one. And that was a good patience there by you. Now you should be able to... you should be able to grab the mid boost and dodge the demo, because that would have been the easy choice here. So you put it down. You definitely could have put it down with a bit more oomph. You know, use a bit more of the like you had a lot of time here, so you can tell because the last guy just flung himself 3 miles in the other direction. You could tell you have a lot of time on this ball. You're not going to get beat on it. So especially seeing as he's running underneath the ball and everything like that. So you could actually have started your solo play before this hit the ground, or just used a single jump, jumped up to the ball, and then just either long shot it or slammed it into the direction you wanted to go. So again, just that little error of noticing that you have extra time and more time than you think you have. And I get that in this rank, especially as you're rising up in the ranks and people get faster and faster, demo attempts can feel like they're coming out of nowhere. So it can be very super good save. It can be very frustrating to try to... Oh, not so good save. So I'm just going to pause it for a sec. it can be super worrying to be weary all the time, especially when they change the audio and stuff to make it like really stupid so that you can't hear demos coming in from behind you as easily. However, there is still a lot of times where you will start to assess that you have more time than you think you have, and if you don't have that kind of time, try to still make a touch that is productive regardless, or try to dodge the demo completely or whatnot. But most of the time, just making a touch that's towards the enemy net is going to put some kind of pressure on, and it's going to alleviate pressure for you, because they can't pressure your net if you're already pressuring theirs. So I'm just gonna, that was a really good save the first time. This save was a rush save though. I think it might have been because you heard your teammate jump up, maybe, and that's what spooked you a little bit. But as a habit, try to get used to jumping off the wall, controlling your car, and then flipping. Don't try to make the jump and flip as a single motion. Try to do jump, reorientate, flip. Even if the reorientation is like nothing except like a mental thing, that can be enough to give you enough time to assess where the ball's going to go after you touch it, instead of focusing on just making the ball touch itself. So like you made that awesome little like mini pre-jump save, but this one you could have jumped a little bit earlier, hit the ball like straight forward, in which case it would have gone into Miss Ollie Bear, or like over the player. Or you could have waited a long time and flicked it into and pushed it into the corner. So you definitely want to try to make a habit out of watching where your area is going to take you when it comes off the wall. And it can be very difficult. Wow, what a boomer. You absolutely slapped that boy. It can be very difficult. Good defense. It can be really tempting to turn around really quickly here. Like, so you made that shot, and then your teammate made a gorgeous pass. It was a missed shot, but it was a gorgeous pass. It can be very tempting to try to turn around there. So it's really good that you didn't, and you just focused on defense. That was really smart of you. That was a bad touch by him. Not your teammate, the other guy. So I can tell that you assessed here that your teammate wasn't going to be back in time, and so you wanted to put the ball in a place that was difficult to deal with, and you did pretty well here, all in all, putting in a place that was difficult to deal with, especially seeing as the goalie for some reason pushed it out of the net. There was no real reason for the goalie to do that. You probably could have slapped the ball just a little bit harder. However, no biggie either which way, because the goalie was in defense. Alright, you just wait this one out. Yeah, easy. They pass it straight to you. Oh, he goes for these. He gets those doubles easy. I mean, the fake double touch. That's what I was going for. Alright, so you start the ball against the backboard. Neither of them went up. And it almost netted a goal for them. So in this situation, when neither of them go up, don't be afraid to push up a little bit closer and try to pressure. You couldn't really tell that neither of them were going up, but you gave yourself a really good double touch here. So don't be afraid to, especially if you're first man and like your teammate hasn't really pushed up and stuff, don't be afraid to like push for it early and really like dominate the airspace there. You know, as long as you know you're going to get a touch on it, it's not such a big deal. It was a perfect lineup for a double touch, by the way. So you don't be too afraid to like not hesitate those. That was a decent save for you here. Unfortunately, yeah, your teammate made a mistake passing it again. A lot of nerves on the backboard, I'm noticing. Don't be afraid to take your time on the backboard. Unless the ball is in front of the net, it is impossible to shoot the ball into the net while it's against the backboard or super close to it. Only will like mega lucky super mega pinches that happen once every billion times will actually go in, and accounting for those is risky, as you can see here. So don't be afraid, as a rule of thumb for both of you, to wait for the ball and see where it's going to go before making your touch, because as long as it's not going in front of the net, as long as it's not dropping directly in front of the net, you're perfectly safe. And even if it is dropping directly in front of the net, you have time to see that, calibrate for it, and put the ball where you want it. So definitely a little bit more patience on the backboard would be good for both of you. Oh my god, he hit the post. No. Oh, that was open for 3 years. So this situation here, your teammate went to go past to you, but you were pushed way too far up. Definitely be further back for stuff like this. You don't have to rush a passing play. And in a passing play like this, the chance of you getting beat is extremely high. So I definitely wouldn't recommend it. However, if you are going to go for stuff like this, it has to be on target, because at a higher rank, this will get you scored on. At a higher rank, the goalie would have already been out of the net, beaten you both, simply because he would have noticed you out of position. However, even without that happening, unless you put this on target, they get possession with both of them back. See, so they both have possession there. Unfortunately, it seems like they got a little bit caught up, and one of them bumped the other one. Sorry. But yeah, you played a risky game there. I definitely would recommend taking your time. If a pass looks like a pass, but there's defenders there, usually it's best not to bother. Alright, this is possession for you. Okay, so backboards and first touches. If you're going to go for a solo play, better first touches. There's a good bit of patience there by you, just to fit. Oh. Yeah, so you're moving around the field with a lot of patience now, I can see. So it's pretty good. You're playing it pretty smart. It's also making the game really messy, and that should be a goal. Easy. So all in all, I think the only things that you really have to work on are your backboard reads for your own backboard, like your backboard defense, your backboard clears, I should call them, and your first touches. Those are two major things. There's some training packs for both of those things, and I would definitely use free play as well to practice, like putting the ball into your backboard and then jumping off, recalibrating, and then going for the ball. You can still like hit the ball out and flick the ball, but that's the smartest way to do it, instead of trying to flick out in one single motion. Because in one single motion means that the ball is much less likely to go in a position that you want it to. It's just going to go away from you. And away from you can be good, except that the ball's not in a dangerous position, so going away from you is just kind of not really handy, you know, because when you clear the ball off the backboard, it's always going to go center. How far center is up to you. If it goes too far center so that it goes over the enemy team, then you're in the clear. If it does not go far enough center, then you're not. So you have to be able to calibrate how far you want to go. You have to sort of figure that out and calculate, not calibrate. You have to calculate how far you want to go, how far is best to go. And your first touches also need a bit of work whenever you're going for solo play. When you're just buying time and stuff, slap the ball as hard as you need to. But when you have time, the best option is to take it. You know, go for a slightly softer first touch, like with that right there. Go for a gentle first touch and try to make a solo play happen. But yeah, this is a pretty good game to analyze. Definitely. You said it wasn't too great, but actually it's pretty impressive the way you're moving around the field. Your overall rotations are very good. Your mechanics are a little bit lackluster for your current skill level. However, again, most of it's just based around small decisions that you're making and not straight up mechanics. Anyhow, with that nutshell, I will leave you to it, and I hope you enjoy. I hope you stay safe, and I will see you in the next video where I analyze your teammate, who's also either Tom or Kevin, because I don't know. I was hoping the gameplay would help me figure it out, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah, this has been fun. Keep it up, keep practicing. You'll be going trip in no time. GG's.